At exactly 5 a.m., my phone buzzed on the nightstand. I groaned, half asleep, my brain still tangled in unfinished dreams. No one ever called me at that hour. No one should. Another knock followed, loud, urgent, not on my phone this time, but on my front door. I sat up instantly. My apartment was quiet, the kind of silence that makes every sound feel dangerous. The sun hadn't risen yet. The city outside my window was still dark, drowned in fog and early morning chill. Who the hell knocks at 5 a.m.? I slipped on a hoodie, heart pounding, and crept toward the door. I didn't turn on the lights. I peeked through the peephole. And my breath caught in my throat. Standing there, hair slightly disheveled, eyes rimmed red, wearing a long black coat that looked far too expensive for my tiny hallway, was her, Claire Whitmore, my CEO, the woman who ran a billion-dollar tech empire, the woman whose name made stock markets twitch, the woman who had finalized her very public divorce just 3 weeks ago. And somehow, she was at my door. I froze. Maybe I was still dreaming. But then she knocked again, softer this time, and said my name. Ethan, please. That voice. Calm in boardrooms. Ruthless in negotiations. Unbreakable in public. Now it sounded shaken. I unlocked the door. The moment it opened, cold air rushed in, and so did the reality of the situation. She looked exhausted. Not the polished exhaustion of long meetings and late flights. This was something deeper. Something raw. Her eyes met mine, and for a split second, the powerful CEO vanished. What stood before me was just a woman barely holding herself together. I'm sorry, she said quickly. I know this is inappropriate. I wouldn't be here if I had any other choice. I swallowed. Ms. Whitmore. Claire, she interrupted. Please. Just tonight. That should have been my first warning. I stepped aside, still stunned. Come in. She entered my small apartment like someone stepping into a confession booth. She stood awkwardly, clearly out of place among my cheap furniture and mismatched chairs. I closed the door, and suddenly, it was just the two of us. No boardroom, no assistants, no glass walls or legal teams. Just me, and the most powerful woman I knew, standing in my living room at dawn. She took off her coat slowly, revealing a simple blouse beneath. No designer flair. No armor. I noticed her hands were trembling. Do you want coffee? I asked, desperate to ground the moment. She nodded. Yes, please. I moved to the kitchen, my mind racing. This woman barely acknowledged my existence at work unless necessary. I was a mid-level analyst, useful, invisible. So why was she here? When I handed her the mug, our fingers brushed. She flinched. I don't have long, she said. I shouldn't even be here. Then why are you? I asked gently. She stared into the coffee like it might answer for her. Because, she said quietly, you're the only person I trust right now. That hit me harder than any accusation. Claire, I don't understand. She took a deep breath. I saw the way you looked at me the day my divorce was finalized. My chest tightened. I had tried to stay professional. I really had. You weren't curious, she continued. You weren't calculating. You looked concerned. Human. I didn't know what to say. She looked up at me then, and there were tears in her eyes she clearly hated. My ex-husband ruined my life, she said. But not the way the media thinks. I sat down slowly. She wrapped both hands around the mug like it was the only thing keeping her upright. He didn't just cheat, she said. He didn't just take half my company in the settlement. She swallowed hard. He's threatening to destroy everything I built. My stomach dropped. How? I asked. She leaned closer, lowering her voice. Instinctively, as if the walls themselves could listen. There are documents, old contracts, decisions I made 10 years ago when the company was young and desperate. Technically legal, ethically gray. My heart pounded. He has copies, she said. And if they go public, the board will remove me. Investors will flee. The company collapses. That's blackmail, I said. She nodded. And he knows exactly when to strike. I have a board meeting tomorrow at 9 a.m. Tomorrow. She looked at me with an intensity that made my skin prickle. I need help, she said. And I can't ask anyone inside the company. Why me? I asked, barely above a whisper. Her eyes softened. Because you're smart, she said. Because you're quiet. Because you see patterns others miss. Then her voice broke. And because I'm terrified, Ethan. That was the confession I never expected. Not love. Not attraction. Fear. Real, paralyzing fear. Before I could respond, her phone vibrated on the table. She glanced at the screen, and went pale. "It's him," she whispered. The phone kept buzzing. She didn't answer. Instead, she looked straight at me and said something that changed everything. "If this meeting goes wrong tomorrow, I won't just lose my company." She took a shaky breath. "I might go to prison." The phone stopped vibrating. The room felt smaller, darker, and suddenly, I realized something chilling. Claire Whitmore hadn't come to my apartment for advice. She had come because she was running out of time. And somehow, I was now part of her fight. The silence after her words felt heavier than any shout. Prison. That single word echoed in my head as I stared at Claire Whitmore, the woman who signed my paychecks, who commanded rooms full of executives without raising her voice, who now sat on my couch like the weight of the world had finally crushed her. "You're serious," I said slowly. She nodded once. "Federal serious." I leaned back, running a hand through my hair. "Then why aren't you with your lawyers? Crisis teams. Security." A bitter smile touched her lips. "Because my lawyers report to the board. And the board already smells blood." She stood up abruptly and began pacing my small living room, heels clicking softly against the floor. "Do you know what it's like," she said, "to build something from nothing? To mortgage your soul just to keep it alive?" I stayed quiet. 10 years ago, she continued, I signed deals no one wanted to touch. I bent rules. I made promises I shouldn't have. But without those decisions, Whitmore Tech wouldn't exist. She stopped pacing and looked at me. And now the man who once told me he believed in my vision wants to burn it all down. Her phone buzzed again. This time, she answered. "I told you not to call me," she said coldly. I couldn't hear the other voice, but I could hear the venom in her silence. "Yes," she said. "I know the meeting is tomorrow." Pause. "No," she replied. "I won't step down." Another pause, longer. Her jaw tightened. "You'll regret that." She ended the call and slowly lowered the phone. "That was him," she said. "He's already leaked something." My heart sank. "What?" "The board moved the meeting forward," she said. 7 a.m. I checked the clock. 6:02 a.m. "You don't even have an hour," I said. She nodded, eyes glistening. "Which is why I need you. Now." I stood up. "Tell me everything." For the next 20 minutes, she laid it all out. Financial loopholes, shell companies, early investors who'd been paid off quietly, contracts buried under layers of legal jargon. As she spoke, something clicked in my mind. Patterns. Connections. I grabbed my laptop. "Claire," I said, typing fast, "did your ex-husband ever directly manage finances?" "No," she said. "He stayed away from numbers." "Said they bored him." "Exactly," I muttered. I pulled up archived transaction logs, ones I'd analyzed months ago during a routine audit and found odd. At the time, I'd dismissed them. Now, I didn't. "These transfers," I said, turning the screen toward her. "They weren't approved by you." She frowned. "That's impossible." "Look at the timestamps," I said. "They were executed using your credentials, but from a different IP address." Her eyes widened. "You're saying?" "I'm saying someone set you up," I finished. "And your ex-husband didn't just find dirt. He helped create it." She sank back onto the couch, stunned. "Can you prove it?" she asked. "I can try," I said. "But we need access to the legacy server backups." Her lips parted slightly. "Those were deleted after the divorce." "Not all of them," I said. "One mirror archive still exists." She stared at me. "How do you know that?" I hesitated. "Because," I said quietly, "I built it." For the first time that morning, she smiled, not the corporate smile. A real one. "You're better than I thought," she said. We worked non-stop, fingers flying, coffee forgotten. At 6:48 a.m., I found it. A hidden authorization chain. Her ex-husband's digital fingerprint. Clean. Precise. Devastating. "This changes everything," she whispered. Her phone rang again, this time from the board chair. She answered, calm and composed. "I'm ready," she said. "Let's begin." At 7 a.m., we joined the emergency board meeting. Faces filled the screen, cold, suspicious, hungry. Before anyone could speak, Claire leaned forward. "Before you accuse me," she said evenly, "you should see this." She nodded at me. My pulse thundered as I shared my screen. I walked them through every detail, Every falsified access, every manipulated contract, every forged approval. By the time I finished, the room was silent. Then the board chair cleared his throat. "Ms. Whitmore," he said, "we owe you an apology." Claire didn't smile. She ended the call and slowly turned to me. "It's over," she said softly. Relief flooded through me, until she added, "For him." Her phone buzzed again. This time, it wasn't her ex. It was the federal prosecutor's office. She stared at the screen, then at me. "They want to talk," she said. I swallowed. "That's good, right?" She shook her head slightly. "They don't know yet who the real criminal is," she said. "And once they do." She stood up, grabbing her coat. "Ethan," she said, her voice steady but eyes shining, "you just saved my company." "And?" I asked. She stepped closer. "So now," she said quietly, "I need someone I trust beside me when I finish this." Our eyes met. For the first time, I realized something terrifying and undeniable. This wasn't just about business anymore. It was about loyalty, about truth, and about two lives that had just collided at 5 a.m., and would never be the same again. She opened the door, then paused. "One more thing," she said. "Yes." She looked at me, her guard finally gone. "When all this is over." She smiled faintly. "I owe you the truth about why I really came to your door." The door closed behind her. And I knew. That confession would change everything.